Bravo Movie Review 2009, The Men Who Stare at Goats. At first, I thought this movie was a total comedy. I could not have been more wrong. Of course, the whimsical New Age storyline will give you many laughs, but you can't help but think this movie is so far out there that it has to be true in some way. It was made into a Hollywood movie because a documentary would just be too hard to swallow. By the time the movie is over, you will think you've been told a big fish story. You will think surely the military does not spend money on such insane programs, and you could not be more wrong. Subconsciously, your inner brain will be thinking, did the USSR and America have an agreement to have an ICBM race to employ thousands of workers with a sense of accomplishment, raise a family, own a home, the security of a pension, spend billions of dollars of fiat paper, scare the public, keep the tree huggers in line, and give nephews and uncles important titles while keeping the military-industrial complex wheels turning with no intentions of using the weapon, but only to spend fiat currency. And talking about currency, this movie had a budget of $24 million, bringing in $70 million. Put countless California liberals to work, fed their children, and put a roof over their heads. In 1980, I was in the U.S. Air Force stationed at Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. And you might be thinking, what the hell does that have to do with this movie? Well, visualization training was all the rage at that time. I enjoyed many military training sessions on making things happen by visualization. I was paid $400 a month in 1980. By 1985, I had visualized my salary going up, and sure enough, it was $1,500 a month by 1985. Around that time, 85 or a little later, Ronald Reagan was depressed, sitting in a dark room watching old black and white cowboy westerns all day long. His handlers were a little concerned, to say the least. The California New Age MX Space War scam, well, it was slowly being defunded. Young men like myself were shown the door, said, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. The gravy train was coming to a temporary stop in the golden state of California. If you're going to understand this movie, the story, the book, you're going to have to know the history. The Vietnam vets had the best run when it came to the cushy civilian contractor jobs on the bases around the socialist kingdom of Cali. The mid-1980s could only keep the Vietnam vets on the gravy train. All the other dead weight had to be tossed for now. One of those Vietnam vets I knew well. He was neck deep into this California New Age visualization agenda. They even trained Tony Robbins in this technique. Everybody knows Anthony Robbins. He would go on to teach the neuroconditioning to presidents and other more important people. Of course, the movie is based on the Army side of the story, loosely touching base on the CIA, LSD, MK Ultra aspect of the equation, but the Air Force and the navies of the militaries across the Western NATO alliance all had their own versions of the same program. I guess the moral of my review is this shit really did go on in the early 80s. The Air Force, I know for a fact, incorporated it into the programs to help the OCD individuals like myself in dealing with alcohol issues. New Age, paranormal, ESP, psychic powers, all fancy words to describe the real phenomenon of visualization. You think something and it can come true. This is real. The military actually did train everybody. In the early 80s, pretty much everybody in the military came into some form of training of this visualization. Okay, back to that Vietnam vet I knew in California circa 1985. Like I said, he was neck deep into this New Age ESP ideas. In fact, he explained it to me in detail, why he was one of the executives and leaders in his group. He explained it to me. He was in a Vietnam prison of war camp. His left hand had been cut off in a firefight with the Viet Cong. The hand was reattached, but it never did work again properly. It was just limp. The nerves didn't work. It just didn't work. And there he was, laying in the pit of a POW hell. He would visualize playing golf on a course that he had played many times before joining up in the military. He played the game in his mind over and over and over and over again for some 600 days while laying in the pit in his POW, prisoner of war camp in Vietnam. He visualized every sand trap, every tree line, every swing. He envisioned his game getting better and better and better, all the while laying there in the pit. His mind made it real. By now, you've guessed the ending of this true story. He got released from the POW camp. First thing he did, stateside, was go to that very golf course. Never lifting a club in over 4 to 5 years. He never played the game in over 5 years. He played the very best game of his life. His score improved 5-fold. And it all happened by the power of visualization. So excuse me if I see more in this movie than just a simple, whimsical comedy. There are words of wisdom mixed in here, like the river story that your life is destined to take. That journey can take detours, of course, but it's all futile. The river can only take you where the river is going, like Mario Andretti, for example. Mario Andretti, he could have tried to be an insurance salesman, but it would never work out. His river was always heading to the racetrack. No need to fight it. In this New Age visualization journey, of course, a connection to Mother Earth and the Sun God is beneficial to a clear vision. And in one of the scenes, George Clooney is even up on top of the car praying to the Sun God while he's lost out there in the desert. So beg my pardon if my review is not focused on the great acting of George Clooney or Ewan McGregor or Kevin Spacey or even Jeff Bridges, a star-studded banner of craftsmen who pretend to be something else by visualization. And there we come full circle. This journey is a path of finding oneself's river. Where will your river lead you to? Don't fight it. I give this 2009 satirical dark comedy a 7.5 Bravos. Yes, 7.5 Bravos out of 10. Worth your time to visualize. And then you might think about 2020, where America and China are at war, or are they? Or are they just pulling another USSR versus America scam? Something to ponder.